Hello and welcome to another YouTube video. I'm Tandy, and today we're going to be playing a bit of Modern as we experiment with the new Lord of the Rings set on Magic Online. This set is legal in Modern, and it is shaking up the format quite a bit, mostly in part to the One Ring. So this artifact has essentially become not ubiquitous among archetypes. There's plenty of decks that don't want to play the One Ring, but many decks that are like mid-range or have a bunch of pitch elementals or force of negations or something like that, a lot of those decks can use the extra resources of the One Ring really nicely and naturally. And that, coupled with the protection element where your opponent can't attack you, can't hit you with direct damage, can't make you discard stuff, it makes the One Ring into almost like a pseudo lock piece, or soft lock piece. That's what we used to call it. Long story short, the One Ring is great in multiples because the new one essentially kills the old one and resets the burden counter, since the burden counters stay on the ring and not like an emblem or anything. This build is essentially trying to ramp into these like big legendary things via Delighted Halfling, another new card. 1 mana, 1/2, taps to add a colorless, and then you can tap for a mana of any color on a legendary spell, and then that spell can't be countered. So it allows you essentially to play like a turn 2 Teferi Time Raveler against things like Cascade, and they can't counter it, which is a pretty big deal. It's very nice for just like helping you curve out with like Renin 6 early, so you can play your fetch lands, tap to get triumphs. But the big thing is just ramping into Omnath and the One Ring pretty quickly while making them uncounterable. So things like Murktide are going to have to deal with the Delighted Halfling well before they can stop like Omnath or the One Ring or whatever. And if they don't, then it's going to be very difficult for them to stop Omnath and the One Ring. This deck has long been known as like money pile. Like there's a lot of really expensive cards in the deck, and adding the One Ring and Delighted Halfling only made things a bit worse. But overall, the deck is very fun to play. The mana is pretty solid. Leyline Binding, Prismatic Ending are excellent removal spells. We're kind of pairing those with Solitude and Fury to give us a well-rounded removal suite, as well as like one of Lightning Bolt. We have a couple ways to generate pseudo card advantage or real card advantage with Fable the Mirror Breaker, which can turn our excess lands from uh, Ren and 6 into some better resources. But also later in the game, we can use the backside Reflection to copy Fury or Solitude and get that extra boost of interaction, which is sweet. Mana base, we got 2 Triumphs to fetch 4, but we're not really a Triumph deck. We are trying to curve naturally with like removal or Halfling into a 3-drop or Ren and 6 on 2. If we don't have Halfling or removal on 1, we can always go Triumph into Renin 6 on 2 or Triumph into Leyline Binding on 2. All reasonable sequences. The sideboard, we have 2 more Furies on the board that can come in against decks with tons and tons of small creatures. 2 Alpine Moon, which are going to be excellent against, I almost said Lotus Field, against Urza Saga. This card is significantly better in Modern than Pioneer, if you ask me, because killing the Urza Saga means Alpine Moon is not really like an 0 for 1, whereas in other formats, playing the Alpine Moon is kind of like a net negative on lands or on resource trading. 3 Force of Vigor. I think that some of the enchantments and artifacts we're going to run into are pretty scary. Obviously, the One Ring is indestructible, so this doesn't answer that. But I do think that those like affinity style decks can be pretty tough for us, and I like Force of Vigor quite a bit. When we're playing the One Ring, I just want to play a bunch more pitch cards anyway. 3 copies of Endurance for similar reasons, but it's a great anti-graveyard effect. It's also just like another good win condition if we need to lower a curve a bit in some matchups. 2 Dovin's Veto, which is going to be excellent against any of the Cascade decks, but can come in a number of scenarios. It's just a hard counter that they can't really interact with. 2 Chalice of the Void. This is going to be stellar against all the Cascade decks, especially Living In. And then last but not least, the 3rd Beseiju in the board, which we can chain with a 2 in the main and the Ren 6 to blow up just about anything our opponent throws at us. This is 4-color Omnath. Let's play League. And looks pretty good. We're definitely going to keep. How do we want to fetch, though? I guess we go green, white into red, blue. Green, white into red, blue seems reasonable. Basic Island's a weird one. Not really sure. Hoping Halfling is great here. Dumpling Island on one usually means that it is. Solitude's a good pickup here if they're weird flashy stuff. Okay, so I guess we're playing its living end. I think this is a pretty bad matchup, especially in game one. I don't think that this deck is going to see a ton of uptick in play IRL, but it has seen a big uptick in play on Magic Online, which is pretty scary. Well, that's a fucking crazy top deck. We're gonna go ahead and play that one. So green, white, red, blue. I did Viper, thanks. I think I'm just gonna tick it up. It's like very hard for them to kill it. I've seen some builds splashing for Fury. I don't want to just like minus and draw a card if I don't have to. But yeah, this is obviously a Stone Cold Killer card in the matchup. Generous Sin seems pretty good. I'm not sure how much I like going all in on these land cyclers though. I feel like half the point of the deck was cycling into the living end or whatever, right? So let's assume. Let's see. So Teferi just keeps us from getting owned by much of anything. Let's just assume that they're going to cycle a bunch. So what's the best play? Probably the One Ring. I think I'm just gonna keep ticking this up. Does their deck play Brazen Borrower? If they do, they have to main phase it. But as far as I know, not usually. They have in the past, but not these new iterations. Yeah, what's up, Broadside? What's up, Salty Saint Nick? How's it going? Couple people hanging out from the Patreon. Relatively new faces in chat. Welcome. Hope you're having a wonderful Thursday. Yeah, I mean they probably have like one thing to bounce or kill it. They can also just like cast these. I actually kind of expected them to just start playing the 4 mana 4/4 flyer. Pretty glad that they are cycling them. All right, let's start right drawn two. We'll go white, green, red, blue, Omnath. If we draw a fetch, that'll be good, but if we don't, it's not a big. Flooded Strand. Now we can gain some life. I think I'm just going to keep ticking up. Should I just cast Fury? I guess I'm just going to cast Fury. I get Sacred Foundry to get the second red. Just going to try to kill them, I guess. You're just playing Breach versus opponent. Only out I saw from them was Otawara. Yeah, Otawara could be a good one too. The Teferi, like obviously the Teferi's nuts against them. They have a few outs. You know, we were lucky to draw it when we did on, turn two. I think we were going to lose otherwise. Sideboard games get a bit better though. So this is 4, 10, 11. Ren's 12, so we're not even quite lethaling them next turn. Alright, Grief's okay. They're just trying to, I guess, make sure that if they do find an answer that it's clean. But alright, bring in the Veto, bring in Endurance, and Chalice. Binding might be okay, but Ending's bad, Bolt's bad. We might want to play, like, or get rid of, like, Solitudes. Maybe we should keep the Furies. Maybe Binding's just worse. Do we want the other two Furies at all? Probably not. Alright, so we sided out our binding, so I think we can actually just cycle this later. So I think I'll just go turn one Chalice. And maybe just play Breeding Pool tapped instead of the Triome. Can we cut one Ren? Yeah, we could. We could, I mean, add in the Fury and cut a Ren, I suppose. Well, Shri Ray cycled. I like keeping the Triumph floating in case we draw Ren. If the game goes long enough, that little engine could find us like a backup version of one of our things. I'm glad I played the Chalice one. I was considering sandbagging it, but I think that's a mistake. Gonna lose the Fable here more than likely. And now we're gonna have to draw something nice here, but they didn't have a land. That's sick. Found the blue source. They'll probably have Chalice for this, but they might not have another land. We'll go get Triome. One Ring's pretty good. Can maybe buy us a turn. Give us some refresh of cards. Oh, I know, Potato. That was one of the reasons I never played the deck back in the day. It's that sequence almost specifically. I'm hoping we draw like Endurance or something. That way I can feel a little more comfortable with the situation. Like, obviously, Chalice is stopping them now, but at some point they're going to find an answer to it. All right, let's cycle the Zagoth, Zagoth, Zygoth. Okay, we'll force them to have Force Negation, and we can play the ring next turn. Do I want to take damage? I don't think I have many targets for Beseiju, so I'm going to go ahead and play it. So let's force them to have the negation and then also have the answer for the chalice. Okay, so we'll just tick up. Again, I don't know if I want to tick this up or down. I like ticking up because sometimes they just play Curator Mysteries and you can just time walk them with it, you know? But, you know, minusing to draw a card is not that bad either. But I think we're just like fine on resources in general. Oh, nice, Nick. Yeah, I think one right hand could be okay on the board. I saw that was the one card Fire Shoes changed to my list from my Cyborg guide. And he said it was the backside obviously is good against, you know, if the first one dies, we would rather just be drawing a land anyway. I don't want to be like casting another one. I'm gonna start with Temple Garden. In case our halfling gets killed, I want to be able to curve out with colors. If we start with Forest and it dies, sometimes that can lead to some awkwardness. Just another fucking. Is this what the format is now? Just living in everywhere all the time? If so, halfling and a Teferi is cracked. All right, so let's go blue, white, play Teferi. If this is the format, turn 2 Teferi versus Living End. It's not very fun, huh? We have Binding. It's a little expensive right now. It costs 4, but we can do it off halfling in our lands. I doubt that they'll have many ways to kill this Teferi. The one Fury that I saw in a screenshot made me want to throw up, though, in game 1. So the deck just, like, doesn't have that many red cards at all, so I don't know if it's like worth trying to fit into the deck, you know what I'm saying? So like maybe I shouldn't play around it, but all right, we'll just draw a card to try to push us towards being able to cast Fury. Do I attack for 1 or do I hold up Binding? I kind of want to hold up Binding just in case like they hard cast the 4-drop next turn. Okay, so they have Oliphant, so maybe they can have Fury. Maybe me minusing was a big dumb mistake and I'm gonna get punished here. All right, here comes the hard cast something or another. All right, we'll go ahead and play 4-mana Binding. Oh, it's only 3-mana Binding, excuse me. I guess I could have attacked for 1. Mistake. Now, this could unlock Beseiji for them to be pretty good. We have another Binding, though. Since it only costs 3, I'm going to attack now. That 1 damage hopefully doesn't come back to bite us too badly. All right, another Curator. All right, so in case I draw the land, now that I have Fury, I think I'm just going to untap and try to draw land for Fury. Nice. We'll just plus on the Teferi, since we're not in Beseiju scaring range here at all. All right, so they could go like, you know, Brazen Bar, bounce this, bring everything back, kill these. I haven't seen too many Brazen Bars in the list though, so. All right, we're gonna attack with both of these. We have the ending up in case all goes wrong. 6/7 is gonna put them to 3. I think I'm going to minus on the Teferi to draw a card in case we draw the bolt. Ren's okay. I kind of want to just go Ren minus. That way, if they do Wrath us, we can go uh draw another Ren to kill you, and maybe turns off a fetch land in case they need it to cycle into stuff. Okay. Well, we multiply, but again, the turn 2 to Fairy, very good. And this is honestly just showcasing the strength of Halfling right now only. Ending's bad, Bolt can go, and Binding can go. We'll keep the Solitudes. Maybe it should be the opposite, though. Maybe it's keep Binding, cut Solitude. I do think that they're going to have a bunch of Besages after board, though. Well, here we have a nice curve. We have Veto to protect us from their, like, turn 3 Cascader, and then we can go to Fairy on our turn 3. I'll probably lead with Rogran Triumph just to make sure I have the right colors and everything. We also could get hammered by Grief. Maybe the land draw should have made me play fetch instead. I don't want to play planes because if they don't do anything, I want to be able to fetch, and I think playing planes telegraphs the veto a little bit. I do kind of want to fetch green white. Jaeger decided to choose violence today. All right, what do we want? Temple Garden. I swear to God, if you hit the space bar, I'm gonna be angry. All right, so I can go Teferi, bounce to Shardless Agent. I don't think that's too bad. No Force of Negation again, very good. Next turn we can go Nissa fetch land, get a mana. Doesn't do anything, but we can Nissa again with the fetch. So if we go Nissa fetch, we can maybe find the red source. If we hit Solitude, that's bad, but a Fury or Omnath is good. And that's the only way to keep my Teferi alive, so let's go for it, I guess. This first one is essentially a dead mana. I guess we can go and hold up. We can hold up the Dovin's Veto instead. Because we can fetch on their turn, right? And then we just have Veto mana. We'll lose our Teferi. I think keeping the Teferi is too important. If this is the second time this ability resolved this turn, reveal cards on the top of your library to reveal an elf or elemental card. Oh, I didn't know I got mana twice. I thought I only got the mana once. So we get the mana twice as well? I didn't realize that. Are you, like, what's your next event? Do you have anything going on these days? Are you just, working from home or what? You still in Denver? Got a coin flip to go to Vegas? Yeah, I'm pretty low on Vegas personally. Mostly because it's always just, 5,000 knuckle fucks in a room. Alright, let's go. Oh, perfect. Great top deck. Best card in the deck, maybe. I think Delight and Halfling might actually be better in this deck than the One Ring. As weird as that sounds. I do think the One Ring is great in the deck, but I think the One Ring's true strength lies in being able to untap and immediately kill your opponent once you get all those cards. Using it in a control shell is nice, but perhaps not always the best way to use it. Tandy, what do you think about the return of Grixis Shadow? I'm here for it. I'm a big Death Shadow fan personally. The balance is always fun, right? Between taking damage, not dying to your opponent's stuff. It's not quite Deathrite Shaman, but it always looks good. All right, well, if they don't play land, that's awesome. I'm gonna go to Fairy Bounce it, and the next turn we can maybe bolt it. Right. If they go Swamp Blood Moon, we could be in a little bit of trouble, but we can use the One Ring to maybe draw out of it, which is sick. And that's another just like absolutely crack thing about the ring. It can just like get you out of a lot of situations. Two toughness seems clutch. Yeah, one power is great because it can trade with Ragavan. Um, dodges some of the weirder things. The Void Walka. All right, well, plus, and then, so this cost how much? 2? So we'll play our land. I'm going to go ahead and just bolt this thingy. And then we can always binding something if we need to. We have the Teferi so they can't scam. Yes, not dying to Ren's great. One power to trade with Ragavan. Doesn't get, hosed too badly by things like Fury. Makes it uncounterable against Force of Negation and Counterspell. It does feel very Deathrite Shaman-esque, but obviously Deathrite untapping other disgusting things, right? Okay, so they can't scam here, so we'll just let it resolve. And then they'll go for probably the Binding, or maybe they'll take the One Ring, and then my guess is they're going to play Blood Moon, but I feel like they should have played Blood Moon last turn. All right, so they took the Ring. If they do play Blood Moon, then any land off the top lets me Binding, right? Or no, I guess I need 2 lands. And my hope is that we'll go for just... My hope is that we just grow so much that we can sell 5K and 10Ks and stuff or whatever, Alright, so I think I'm just gonna kill the Seasoned Pyromancer with Binding. That was a great turn from them. Well, that was a good draw. I don't think they can beat or resolve the One Ring personally, unless they... And I can get Blood Moon right now. I probably should have main phased this in case I drew a fetchable land. Now, if I get Blood Moon, I'm gonna be sad. And I could have drawn a fetch to make it less painful. Alright, so we'll play our land. I'm gonna just like not use my burden counters too much here. I'm gonna wait till Incept to draw also, because the Teferi was already like a decent play to stop some of their scammy stuff. But this is the type of matchup where the One Ring is really gonna shine, right? Because we can just find... Alright, let's draw some cards to see if we can find a way to kill this Ragavan so they don't get to bash us. Alright, that's fine. They're gonna hit me for 2. We're gonna take 2 from this, so we're at 11, essentially 10 from the fetch. I could just not crack the fetch. I think that might be okay. Oh, they hit Binding. So black-red, so they can cast it. What are they going to target, though? Binding was one of the best hits possible. If they hit the ring, we don't take damage. That's fine. We can use Teferi, bounce the Binding maybe back to my hand. So I guess they have to hit Teferi. All right, let's see what they target. Kind of has to be Teferi, but top deck Boseiju could get them. I think I'm not going to crack the fetch in case we draw Omnath. And now they just like renovated that whole area, and now they're just like using it for like a rental space for parties and stuff, but they're using it on the weekends for magic tournaments. We need another white source or another red source. We don't have a mountain. All right, we're just gonna play Solitude and eat the Ragavan, and then use the Solitude to give us some life back, so the One Ring doesn't kill us. Nice. So this matchup, Rakdos Skim Scams, Endurance seems okay, Fury seems okay. Prismatic Ending seems mid, but it is a way for us to kill Blood Moon. Similarly, Binding can be a little awkward. Halfling kind of opens us up to removal, but I kind of like it anyway. Renin 6 is good against all the discard. The Fairy stops a lot of the scam stuff, but is relatively weak. Bolt kills Ragavan and all the other things. Maybe we don't need or want Solitude. And it's also possible we just like don't want Endurance, but I just like the idea of Endurance against most of their creatures. The only one it's bad against is like Dothy Voidwalker, I guess. Huh? I don't think Solitude's that good, right? The 2-for-1 trade on that's not the best. So maybe we can just cut Solitude. So we don't have red mana, but against the scam deck, I think I'm going to keep because we have some lands and some stuff to do. And if we draw a red source, that'd be great. If it's a fetch land, that's even better. And we have a basic to help play around Blood Moon a little bit. We're going to lead with Beseiju in case we draw a red source, or we're going to lead with the red source. I'll play Breeding Pool instead. Ragavan's going to chew us up unless we draw a red source next turn. Maybe that's one reason to mulligan. But we only have the 1 bolt and 2 prismatics, so it's not like we have a ton of ways. And if I drew Fury, I don't know that I would like turn 2 Fury there, right? Or turn 1 Fury though. Maybe I would. They stole my Teferi. I don't think they can cast it though, unless they have a blue or white land in their deck. Red source. Hey, we're in business. Probably Sacred Foundry, second white source. We already have a second green source. We don't really need a second blue source. All right. If I minus on this and they have a scammer, we can get them with the endurance, pitching the other Renin 6. So we let this one resolve, and then this will trigger, and then with the ability on the stack, I'm gonna keep the Nissa. Nissa seems pretty good here. This will keep my Ren alive, which is nice. Gets the Ragavan off the battlefield, which is good. Orcish Bowman's, dang. Wasn't expecting the Bowmaster. This sucks. Ren's dead. Alright, so Ren 6 dead. I'm gonna be at 14. Hopefully we get to untap and play Nissa or Fable. You sink into my clothes. Okay, now I kind of just want to minus on this Bowmasters though. Mostly because the Bowmaster makes my Fable a bit worse, you know? Obviously, they could have another scam thing here to bring it back and grow this, but they don't. That's good news for me. Another Bowmaster lets them take care of the Ren. Bolt EOT lets them take care of the Ren. All right. Ren? Ren taking it? Do I get on top with the Ren? Hardcast Grief would be hard to beat, maybe. I guess we have 2 really good cards to play here in face of it. Torak, no. Oh my god. They hit my 2 spells. Protection from white's super scary. Alright, play Omnath to get back a land. The Torak is going to be able to kill the Ren by having protection from white. Need to draw something like Fury or something to take care of the Torak. If they have a Fury of their own, we're in a lot of trouble. Terminate's okay. I think they're in the same spot where they kind of still just have to kill Ren. I guess they could have Blood Moon here. That would be game over, probably. Season Pyromancer is probably too good, too. Damn. Gross. That Torak was scary. Alright, I think we're basically dead here. We'll play out for another minute or 2. Clock differential is real. It's like we're behind the whole game. I mean, that's what a turn 1 Ragavan does. I would take 6. I don't even know what we can draw. We're like just too far behind. Guess technically Omnath could get there. Fury's pretty good. I guess we'll kill Dothy Voidwalker and Orc. I don't really want to kill Spyro just now, because then if they don't have anything to do next turn, they can just use Spyro. If they have Scammer thing, they can save their Voidwalker, but I don't think targeting any of the other stuff was really that much of a difference. I'm going to hold the Delight of Halfling back to potentially chump block. All right, well, block here. Jump here, go to 4. All right, we'll take 4 down to 4. We need to draw a way to kill the Voidwalker now or we're dead. Another Fury would be nice. We could kill the Voidwalker and have blockers for the stuff in play. Omnath lets me gain some life and kind of outpace the Dothy Voidwalker for a turn. All right, dead. All right, I'm going to get the other Teferi back in. How much do I want these Solitudes? Not that much. Endurance has felt weak. Voidwalker is just a strong card, hard to beat. The body wasn't good enough. Thought it would be better. Maybe it is on the play because it can play defense against Ragavan or whatever, but I think everything's better on the play. All right, this hand's a bit better. We'll put back one of the 2 Delighted Halflings. If they kill it on 1, that's fine-ish. I hope they don't, obviously, but if they play Ragavan, I might just Ren and 6 it. I don't really feel that comfortable playing like Nissa. And then if they kill it and attack for 2 of the Ragavan, they can just get like too far ahead. All right, no 1-drop. All right, so I think we just go fetch Ren. I'm gonna fetch tapped. Let's see. I guess we get Ragran. Then we go green red. We could get basics, but we only have 1 basic to get off the Tarn as islands. We can do that next turn with Nissa fetch. This card's just like a lot better than I thought it was, and I already thought it was really good. All right, Voidwalker. So they fetched 2 black-red duels, which means they have Spyro and probably not Blood Moon. This shuts down my Renin 6. So we got to go Nissa, I guess. Unless we draw something to kill the Voidwalker with. Plus 10 mint clock difference. Very fun. Alright, so they pitch Bowmasters. This being a 1-2 dodging Bowmaster is also pretty nice. Took Manissa. And now Dothy Voidwalker can potentially find Furies and Griefs. Very scary. Alright, what you gonna hit? Ren? Ren dead. At least we got the land off of it. That was a good draw. Oh, man. Okay. Well, I can't get the island, but if they do Blood Moon me, we have this to make treasures at least. I should have... Well, I guess I had to get double red to play Bolt plus Fables, so I didn't really make a mistake. I guess I should have just played Steam Vents and over the Scalding Tarn in case I wanted to get island this turn. All right, here's Spyro, so they get discard 1 is probably a spell. All right. Fable, trigger, 2 lands gone. Find something good. It's pretty good. Let's see how they block. I can just play Teferi and bounce a token. And if they don't block, I'll just play Fury. Alright, so let's go white, blue 1. That's a good draw. Get Misty so we can get Force or Island, depending. Excellent turn, especially considering I got Grief Furied 2 turns ago. Fable coming in clutch, pitching 2 lands and turning them into spells. Alright, so this is going to kill Teferi. Yeah, that was a great one. Alright, well, we're going to get a couple basics just in case Blood Moon comes up. Alright, so let's go get back Missy. We'll go get Island. And we'll play Fury from hand. And if they have a Scammer, it is what it is. And now if they don't kill Reflection, we have Reflection Fury, and that should be game next turn. Awesome. We get Rogren to start, I suppose. We could fetch Team Vince or something if we need to. Another Living End matchup, huh? Not great. I'm 2-0-4-0 against it so far in the league, but being on the draw, I don't have Halfling. This game doesn't seem like I'm going to win, personally. Gonna do a little bit of a bluff. We're fetch shocking main phase and passing turn to kind of pretend like I'm playing around a fetch land into whatever. Mostly I'm hoping they just don't have it, though, because next turn I have to play Teferi, and hope they don't have it. I guess I can go Solitude pitch Prismatic in response, and I get back Solitude that eats Waker Waves, and then it's Striped and 2 Street Wraiths. Beating Striped Riverwinder seems impossible. Alright, maybe they don't have it. But we have to play a 3-drop here, and I'm gonna play Teferi. Alright, you win. Alright, Vetoes, Endurance, Chalice. We were cutting Prismatic, Bolt, and Binding. I think Solitude's better than Binding after thinking about it more. We could play Fury over Ren, 2 Fury over 2 Solitude just because it kills faster. I don't think we're gonna do like pitch Solitude too often, but sometimes it comes up with the endurances where you go like, you have them they resolve like a small ball living in basically. All right, we're gonna be on the play here for game number 2. We have an endurance I'm gonna keep. We can definitely get like griefed out of the game or whatever, but I wonder if I should be. I wonder if there's a potential to play like a delighted halfling blood moon deck. I don't know. The fact that Tessercolis is getting me going, it's getting my think juices flowing. I'll just get Triumph. We need a green source anyway. We took out our bindings though, but they don't know that. Okay, well, I'm just gonna go for Teferi, I guess. They go for force, that's fine. We have the endurance pitch in response to the living in. We'll wait for living in to go on the stack as well, so our endurance coming back will be forced. I'm gonna go ahead and draw a card since we have endurance to block something small later. All right, generous int. This has been a pretty big upgrade for the deck. The fact that it's not like basic force cycling is weird to me. They seem very strong for 1 mana. All of the cyclers seem so strong for just 1 mana. So they got Breeding Pool Stomping Ground, so they have all their colors. Petty Theft on that. Okay. I'm just going to recast it, and I'm assuming they're going to force a negation it. Alright, so we're going to fetch a land tapped, so we'll get, I guess, Breeding Pool. And then we'll put the fairy on top. And they'll go for whatever now, and we'll go for Endurance. We don't have to do it until the living ends on the stack. Grief doesn't stop it because we have 2 of them and a green card. Well, now that I know what they're going to do, we have Veto, so we could just go for red and 6. Although our red source is the same as our white source. So I guess we just play Teferi again. And they'll go for Violent Outburst. Then we'll Endurance them and hope that they don't have another Cycler. Ooh. Is this the game plan they really want to implement? Guess top? Kind of want to Fury the Subtlety. I guess I should have waited because they're probably going to play the Borrower, and I could have waited. I could have went to Fairy in response to that play Borrower, and then I Fury away Subtlety and Borrower. All I do is take 3 damage and instead. Don't know. The Fairy. All right, so they're going to play Borrower in response probably. That's fine. I'm going to bounce it and draw. So they can main phase bounce it. We still just have the endurance to clog them up. If they go like Grief plus, you have to have like Grief plus Borrower plus Cascader. Hardcast Borrower is fine. Alright, so now I guess we'll just play the endurance to block. Owner of Apex Gaming, who we've been promoting and stuff on our socials. Very cool guy with an awesome family. Bunch of people who really care for him up there in Ohio, yeah. We're trying to make Apex into a huge deal, chat. We're trying really hard, and I hope that you'll join us on our journey there. I thought I was going to get Odawarad. Suspend living in. That's always a good sign, right? Don't have the second red. Do we just hold up vetoes forever? I feel like they're just going to cast a 7-drop next turn, so I think I'm going to play the One Ring. Like, if they just have another land, they can just start playing Striped Riverwinder, right? That thing's scary. I don't know how much Generous Int costs, but I think it's only 6. Alright, Grief doesn't hit because of the ring. Alright, blue, white, green, red, Omnath, and then we'll fetch, like, Steam Vent. We'll play Fury. Tommy Ground's fine, too. Alright, then Smash for 3. This one's good. We'll keep. I'm gonna put back one of these lands. I like having the endurance. That means that they're gonna have to grief us before they pop off. We have halfling to ramp into stuff. We'll go get, I guess, blue green. Another cycled architects of will. Sure, sure. Awesome to see you on modern. Oh yeah, I'm gonna be mirroring the RCQ format coming up here, Kyle. So expect a lot more modern in the near future. I'm having fun playing with the ring. And Delighted Halfling seems great. All right, so let's go red, green, Ren. Let's see if they want to force a negation, which they can't, obviously, but they don't know that necessarily. I will return the Misty, and I think I'm just going to play Sacred Foundry tapped. I'm going to hold on to the Delighted Halfling to be a pitch for Endurance. And if they grief me, then I might just go Endurance to get rid of the two Architects. But when is Pile Season over officially? I think there's only a week or two left of RCQs. I don't know exactly what week. And then there's the Pro Tour, and then the RCQ season for Modern starts like I want to say August 12th weekend's the first weekend, but I'm not really 100%. All right, Waker of the Waves is whatever. They know I have Misty, so I'll try to play this one as my land. August 20th seems far too far away. I feel like there's got to be RCQs in oh wait, we're already in July. I meant August. Yeah, August 12th weekend, something like that. Kyle, is your August 12th event an RCQ? It has to be, right? I guess they're destinations, so they're floating. So they're not technically part of the season. Maybe that's why. All right, we're gonna go get Island, I guess. Experts for D first grief. Yeah, the Wondering protecting you for a turn against grief is nice. It means that like my endurance is almost 100% to work. All right, so let's let them put their thing on the stack. 26 down. That means they probably have one in hand, maybe two in hand. All right, so what do they got that messes with me? All right, so we'll pitch the halfling, hit their graveyard. They could have subtlety. If they have subtlety, I think we just die. That sucks. All right, well, see if we can do some One Ring stuff. And oh, I should have not drawn a card with the One Ring. Oh, I didn't have another green card anyway. That's whatever. Let's go bottom. Oh, subtlety. Getting got by the two card combinations. Nothing you can do about it. If I drawn the Teferi a turn earlier, could have maybe got that down. I was draw two. Draw two cards. I don't think we can really do anything. I think I'm just dead. I can bounce something, doesn't really do anything. I don't have Verdict in my deck. It's dead. Oh well. The sand looks great. Let's hope our halfling survives. We're on the draw. I'm curious if I won any die rolls this one. I don't know. Probably did. Probably did. I just want to be on the play with my delighted halflings. She's so happy. It's mono scams and living ends today, chat. Took my solitude, huh? I'm guessing my halfling's about to get punked. Alright, so we'll get green blue. Right, I'm gonna go for Time Raveler to turn off scammy scams. I'm gonna tick up so Fury's not so harsh. Alright. Orcish Bowmasters is pretty good against all my incremental card draw. They're going to be able to attack the Teferi down to 3 here. Bouncing doesn't seem great until I can kill the Bowman. See what this is. Blood Moon? Yikes. Basic Forest drawn. Just say go. The Delighted Halfling being a 1-2 makes it play defense pretty great here. Pitch Fury is disgusting. They can't scam at least. Unless they killed the Teferi first. They did, but they've stacked it badly. That's funny. They big punted. They could have gone 4 damage to Teferi, resolve it, evoke on the stack, invoke, or with evoke on the stack, scam it. Alright, what do we want in the matchup? Furies. I think I was boarding in the Endurance, but I didn't love it. And then the Solitudes were fine. Endings were kind of meh. What was I cutting? I don't even remember. Solitudes? 2-for-1 Solitude seems bad. I don't know. If they take this time. Couple of the One Ring. The Binding seems okay. Halfling seems like a reasonable take. If they take Halfling, I can go turn 1 Zagoth, turn 2 fetch with Flooded Strand on Sacred Foundry, play Binding for 1, and then maybe a 1-drop if I draw another Halfling or something. I don't know. I want to play around Blood Moon if I can. It's just kind of difficult. It took binding. Okay. All right, we got to go for the Teferi. So they go Voidwalker. We'll just go bounce it. Yes, I kind of want to get a Plains. And next time we can get the Forest. The old Halfling in a Teferi feels so good. So good. I don't really know how else to say it. Just feels real strong. Fury Pitch gonna kill both. That's fine. We are in some trouble, but we can maybe get out of it. They can Voidwalker to play any of the Halfling Teferi or Flutterstrand, but I doubt they will. I guess we'll fetch with this. Maybe cycle the Triumph. This is we need 2 more rings, and we'll have L5R. Take the 3 down to 16. This is Hardcast Grief. I think I'll just get Triumph. Like one of my 3 rings. Now that they have more power on the table, I don't think I can really afford to shock to cycle. Alright, we'll just play the 1 ring to protect ourselves for a turn. I want to play more Bolt in the deck, I think. I felt like Bolt's been better than Prismatic Ending, personally. Paint Death is so cool with Voidwalker. Alright, well, we got to draw something real good here. Fury would be great. Alright, so we're gonna get hit for 5. I'm gonna play Island and just cycle Triumph. I think playing the Ren here is a bit loose because I have to. I guess I could have fetched Force and got it. Mostly I just want to find some very specific things like Fury here. We'll take 6 down to 6, and then this will put us to 4, and then I have to just draw something to not be dead. I can play this other ring and buy me another turn, I guess, but my hope is that they accidentally kill themselves with the ring. Alright, Fable. Still just need a bunch of Furies would be nice. Alright, this is gonna put us to 6. Then 5, and then 3 from the ring. And I can play ring and then Ren in 6 and not be dead. Alright, let's play Forest. Let's play another ring. Here we go. Alright, so Ren's gonna be dead. They're gonna get a treasure. They can draw 3. This is fine. Doesn't even hit me, I don't think. So at this point, we can use like the Fairy Time Raveler. Okay, we'll go Omnath. No! Damn it. I mean, it has made a comeback for sure. Like, it wasn't always like ubiquitous. I played it against 2 scam opponents today, and they both had Turok. So, all right, let's hope our Ren 6 survives. Yeah, I expect a lot more modern coming up, chat. So if you're into modern, keep on hanging. So they kind of have to take Solitude. If we went for a pitch Solitude in response, they would just take Ren, and then they would hold on to their other Feign Death or whatever. But here they have to take Solitude if they're scamming, and then they'll scam and then take Ren and leave me with 2 Time Ravelers. But then in 2 turns, I'll be able to bounce this and draw. So we still have a game at least, which is nice. Any reason Firax and Crusader isn't played? Because it only deals poison damage. I mean, Turok is also just like something that lets you discard 2 cards or whatever, right? All right, let's go. This will essentially give us a land and save us a little bit of life. Wondering the big pickup here for next turn. Alright, so Bowmasters is going to be gross. So we'll go to 15. Bowmasters, huh? Alright, Fair's down. Bouncing the Bowmasters is whatever. Like, if I bounce anything else, it just gets a free 1 damage and a grow this. I'll play the ring. Alright, so this will grow the orc, but they don't get to deal damage to me. They can hit their own thing or whatever. So we'll take 1, go to 9. Just gonna protect my life total as much as I can. Next time we'll draw 3. This is going to put us at 7, and 3 is going to put us at 4. We got to draw some way to replace the ring in the next 7 or 8 draws, which shouldn't be that difficult, I suppose. All right, we have a chump blocker for that as well. It's pretty scary. All right, that's a great draw. All right, the Teferi was going to die, so I'm going to go ahead and just reset my ring now, since I didn't have much else to do. We drew Omnath, so now we can start maybe gaining some life to put us out of range. We can also ending this. All right, so let's go red, white, blue, green. So if they don't have terminate, keep this beside you, and let's go ending the Voidwalker. Another halfling, and we can use this to chump the Torok if we want. We have a couple rings for the next 2 turns, as long as they don't hit us with a backup Torok. Missing your stream? Yeah, I took some time off. I needed a break, and I kept writing articles and stuff, and we'll be streaming more coming up soon here. I just I went on vacation for a week too, so you know. All right, well, with the Torok going up to 4, I think I will block now. All right, Fury down to 0 cards. It's going to kill the Omnath, and we're at 1 ring versus Torok. All right, we're going to attack. We can't binding the Torok. We've already gone through our bolt. We can block it next turn, and we can binding the next thing they play. Mostly just hope it's not a Spyro. All right, let's go red, white, blue, green, Omnath. Great turn this is going to be for sure. All right, so make some mana. Cast the Fury, target the Torok. And then we can fetch on their turn to gain some life. Scam on this is fine. It'll come back as a 3/2. All right, on their upkeep, we're going to just go and gain some life. There's no fun to play against. What, my deck or their deck? I mean, I got fucking double griefed on one and I won. Like, how wild is that? I guess win is strong. We haven't won yet, but I'll definitely trade here, I think. All right, we'll attack and offer the trade with the Fury and Solitude and gain some life as well. How have the Fables been? The Fables have been pretty great, especially off of Halfling on turn 1. We played against not a very wide range of things. So let's talk about what I liked and didn't like about this build and talk about the matchups themselves. So we played against 3 Living End and 2 Scam. We went 2-1 against Living End, which I think is punching above average. And we went 2-0 against Scam. I think Scam's probably a little closer, but it's pretty clear that discard effects are not that great against decks playing the 1 ring. Thoughtseize in general, Grief in general, not that good against the 1 ring because it's able to just essentially push way, way, way over the top in terms of card advantage. Our deck does a great job of alleviating the burn encounters with Omnath gaining life. We have a lot of ways to utilize the extra cards, which are with our pitch elementals. And our stuff is relatively cheap thanks to Leyline Binding. And even Delighted Halflings getting in there, making things cost less, essentially. So, overall, I think maybe Prismatic Ending can go in favor of just playing more Lightning Bolts. I think the instant speed tapping for just red mana seemed good. Prismatic Ending didn't ever kill anything that Lightning Bolt would have killed. And we already have 4 Leyline Binding. I think we just need to essentially skew our mana slightly more red so that we have a heavy incentive to go like turn 1, fetch Breeding Pool, turn 2, fetch Sacred Foundry. I think that sequence is nice, but we need to be able to get Stomping Ground as well for turn 1 Halfling plus like Bold in case one of our things dies. The Besejus were fine. I never channeled them, but I thought that playing 2 might screw me once or twice, but it didn't really come up. There are matchups where you'll want Beseju, but it's definitely not against Living End or Scam unless they have the Blood Moon. The Nissa Resurgent was great one game. It allowed me to find a free Omnath, and then I could pitch that to the Fury to kill stuff. That was sweet. The One Rings were obviously busted. I kind of want to play more mana acceleration so that we can play them more quickly. Something like Explore is on my radar. Instead of Delighted Halfling, we could play a version that's like Arboreal Grazer and Utopia Sprawl. I think that that build could have some legs. And if people go really hard on one mana answers to Delighted Halfling, you know, maybe it's worse than just playing the Arbor Elf Utopia Sprawl build. But that one also just has a lot more air in it because you're playing 8 mana accelerators instead of 4. And I do think Delighted Halfling was quite strong though. So very, very happy with Halfling. Halfling into Teferi was very good against our set of matches that we played. Solitude was not great, but it's obviously something you want against like Hammer or whatever. I think that the 4-2 split on Solitude Fury is fine. I don't think we have enough red cards to justify going heavy on Fury. But if we cut Prismatic Ending for Lightning Bolt, maybe there's some room to go like minus a Solitude for a Fury, and then put the Solitude maybe in the sideboard for the Hammer matchups. Something like that. Seems okay. Building this deck is a bit harder nowadays because we don't have 80 cards to play with. The Yorion builds, everything kind of fit naturally. We had a bunch of extra cycling lands, we had a bunch of fetches. But what ends up happening after the Yorion ban though is that in 60 cards, we just have to make cuts at some spot. And wherever you make the cuts at, someone's gonna be crying about it. And you just have to make a decision. In this build, we went with the 2 Fables and the 1 Nissa and the 1 Lightning Bolt. All those cards felt great when we drew them and cast them. Sideboard, Endurance can maybe go down to 2, but I like 3. Force of Vigor can maybe go down to 2, but I like 3. Never played against Saga, but Alpine Moon's great there. The 2 more Furies on the board I think are solid. They're one of the best cards you can have against creature-based decks. I think the addition of Fable makes Fury significantly better. Just the threat of the backside of Fable with Fury just obliterates certain board positions, and if they don't kill the backside of Fable, then usually they lose, and if they don't kill the front side of Fable, they usually lose too because of all the extra mana. Dovin's Veto was solid. I would keep the 2. Even though it's blue white in a deck that has a green 1-drop and some Besajus, it can get a little weird sometimes. The 2 Chalice of the Voids were solid, and then obviously the 3rd Besaju, you take it or leave it. But this was 4-color Omnath. This is the first time I streamed with it. The first time I was able to physically get my hands on the One Ring. I think this deck is quite strong right now, and I would highly recommend it. So make sure to check this one out if you're a fan of 4-color piles. If you like the One Ring, Delighted Halfling was a true contender for best card in the deck. So keep that in mind if you're thinking about cutting it. But that's going to be it for me. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button on your way out. Take it easy, YouTube.